Hello, and join me in editing this beautiful picture of Indy taken at one of our recent dog photography workshops, where we're going to be looking at how we're going to deal with this image and the challenges that it presents. So let's get started. So first thing that I see with this image is that Indy's beautiful eyes get a little bit lost in his markings, in the nice brown tones of the markings, and we've got a lot of highlights with the white fur, and we need to balance that out so that we're going to be drawn to the face. So if anyone who's seen my videos before, you know the first thing I end up doing is I love to start with my crop. And the first thing I'm going to do here is actually just bring my crop, bring Indy into the middle, and have either the eyes coming through the third, but really I'm just going to bring sort of that center point of that head coming through the third. And I'm going to make sure my horizon line is straight. I'm going to make sure it's dead on, nice and straight there. And overall, I'm happy with that. I like the little tilt of Indy coming to the side. It's so cute. So this image is exactly as shot. And what we're going to do, we want to control our highlights down here and control our shadows up here. If I zoom in, you can see that we've got beautiful catch lights in the eyes. We've got everything there. We're correctly exposed. None of this whites is overexposed. So let's now balance it out a little bit. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is do my highlights. I'm going to bring the highlights down a little bit so I can see more fur texture. Then we're going to control our shadows. We're going to pull those shadows up, and you see how much detail. If I zoom in up here, if you look from where the picture started to how much detail we're going to get in those shadows with the contrast from this image. And we've really brought in that little bit of detail and that little bit of texture coming in there. So first of all, if I just compare between before and after there, you can see we've already got quite a difference by just playing with that area. Next, we're on 6,000 on our temperature. So technically speaking, more around this would be correct. But I'm liking the warm tone. I think that suits Indy's colouring, and it suits the idea of what we're going to do with this image. So let's keep it a little bit warm toned on there as well. Now I'm just going to pull up my exposure, if I can grab it, a tiny bit, pull that up to there. Now I'm watching my histogram at the top, and I can see that where my highlight sections are, I actually don't have very much. And if I pull my highlights up, it's this area on the chest that's going to push. You can actually grab up here and pull things towards, but you see if I do that, it's the chest that's going to overexpose, and we're going to have problems from there. So let's just undo that now and try and fix this in a different way. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a mask, I'm going to grab a brush, and I'm going to just go over the eye section here, and I'm going to increase our highlights on that section and increase the brightness just a tiny amount, just on that section, just to lift those eyes. Next, I'm going to create another brush, and I'm going to tone down this bit here. We're going to pull those highlights down. Now, when you pull highlights down, you can sometimes make the picture go a little bit grey. And I kind of feel like that's happened here just a tiny bit. So I'm going to up my warmth ever so slightly just to keep the integrity, keep the right tone for this image. And I'm quite happy with that. I think that's already looking quite nice. Now, if I wanted to stop there, that's a lovely, very natural image of Indy. I'm quite happy with that. Now, I've got this line here. That's just a scuff, just a line on our skirting board. We can remove this in Photoshop, but let's do it in Lightroom. Let's do it while we're here. So if I grab my healing, and this is just my personal preference, I'm going to draw along this line here. And the genius that is Photoshop has already found a section. It's found a section that's already got a smidge in it. But if I realign that up there, my line is gone. Let's click on that to go back. Perfect. Absolutely sorted. So overall, I'm quite happy with that. I think that's quite pleasant. That's quite nice. But I like more moodier sort of images. So let's enhance this image a little bit more. If I wanted to, I could go down to the post-crop vignette and I could add this. And I just think that looks the most unnatural vignette, especially on a lighter image. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a mask that's a linear gradient. and I'm going to pull this in this side and ever so slightly take the shadows down and up the warmth a tiny bit here. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side so that I've got a pool of light coming in around Indy. And I think that's just going to draw us in a little bit. Now I'm going to do one more, and this time I'm going to come up. And I can just control how much we're noticing on the bottom there. So essentially I've created a variety. Now I could add these in, we can do it all in the same, but I quite like having control over each area. Let's have a look at that. Let's see what that's done. Yeah, we're definitely drawing in now. I think that's looking quite nice, and I like that pool of light coming around. So finally, let's have a quick look into our colour, and I'm going to bring that in a tiny bit with those warm tones. I'm going to add a little bit of contrast. I'm going to take that luminance down a tiny bit. And with those highlights, let's bring in that yellow tone. I think that's going to look quite nice. And let's bring that in a little bit more. See, now that I've added my colour grading, I think I can notice my mask a little bit too much. That's absolutely fine. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to reduce it a tiny amount. And on the other side, I'm going to reduce it and I'm going to spread it out a little bit further so that the feathering comes over a little bit bigger stretch. That's better. So I like that. I like that image. I think that's looking nice. I think that's another image that might look quite good in black and white. I might play around with a different edit, but overall I think that's quite a lovely image. Please do give me feedback in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys think. And I will put this final image up so you can have a look at the end of the video. But let's have a look. Let's see our before. Let's see our after. I think that's a lovely balanced image. I absolutely like that. Join me next time.